reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. From GFL, Green for Life.
It is Raymond and Austin on All-Star Sports Radio. Our sportsbook and casino sponsor, BetUS.com, is celebrating their 30th year. You can't miss offer. 125% sign-up bonus and up to 30 risk-free bets.
It's called Bet Protect, and you can only get it from BetUS.com. An awesome offer for this season's wild plays.
Nice, like that infamous tuck rule back in 2002.
Tuck rule, worst call in sports.
Man, you're like the old lady in the Titanic. It's been 21 years.
Hey, I'll be king of the world with Bet Protect. It's like having 30 get-out-of-any-tuck rule shenanigans in my back pocket.
But your back pocket is usually empty, bro.
Keep your shoulder pads on. Is there anything else about BetUS you haven't told me?
The less you know, the better. BetUS has live in-game betting, a 200% crypto sign-up bonus, and online casino for some blackjack.
You've been holding back.
Anyway, folks, get Bet Protect this football season. Visit BetUS.com for the industry's biggest 125% sign-up bonus and up to 30 risk-free bets. Or give them a call at 1-800-MY-BETUS to get started.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, sponsored by Liquid Sunshine Car Wash. Florida QB Graham Mertz doesn't appear to be intimidated by number 1 Georgia and their defense.
Played a lot of great fronts, a lot of great secondaries. I think they're a great defense, and you see it on tape.
Georgia head coach Kirby Smart, going into the rivalry game with Florida, views the Gators as a hot team with a hot QB.
They've played their best football probably the last 2 weeks or so, and you look at the quarterback, maybe the number 1 quarterback in the country for 2 games.
Gator head coach Billy Napier knows Georgia tight end Brock Bowers being out for the game is noteworthy.
This is not only one of the best players in America this year, last year, this is one of the best players of all time. He made them really hard to defend.
The NBA season got underway for the Florida teams on Wednesday. The Magic defeated the Houston Rockets, and the Heat got by the Detroit Pistons. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:01, it's 76 degrees. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hands it to Etienne, lowers his shoulder, into the end zone, touchdown! A 2-yard touchdown run by Travis Etienne. They toss it to the left to Etienne, he's got some running room, 15, 10, 5, toward the pylon, touchdown! Travis Etienne scores again! Checks it down underneath, that's a crossing route to Christian Kirk, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, Christian Kirk to the goal line! Touchdown Jacksonville! A crossing route to Christian Kirk! And the Jags have retaken the lead. Duval! Big dog, let's go! Hey, man, we're here and we're here to stay. It's still the Jags.
Never gets old. This does not get old, man. Right? Winning is contagious. Winning is contagious. When you get it in your blood, there's something about it. Right? It makes you want to do just a little bit more. Okay? And we saw it at the end of this football game. Right? Offense, boom, you got the touchdown. Defense, you got the stop. Special teams, we got the 4th down play. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Mike DeRocco, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. We stretched it all the way out to a victory Thursday with the Jacksonville Jaguars winning 4 in a row. Tony taking full advantage this week, although tomorrow will be keys to victory Friday.
Yes, it will.
Kind of turn the page on that a little bit. Good morning. How are you?
Doing well.
You're repping the Jags Today t-shirt. D-Rock, how are things?
I'm great. Everything's wonderful. How are you?
Belly all full?
Oh, it's very full.
Yeah. You didn't buy breakfast today, right?
I don't think I did. No.
I got to say thank you for the 2 times I bought for being out of town. I do. So
You're welcome.
Very happy about that. Plus, we've been Taylor Dahl has been substituting for me this year. Instead of me getting breakfast, I've been passing it along. I'm on the weight loss kick. And she was out last week, too, so I just had to buy for these 2 bums.
Oh, my gosh.
It worked out pretty well.
We need to put something in the rule book next year about this.
Minimum expenditure.
It's like there's like a $6 fee you get if you're not here on when you're supposed to get breakfast.
Or maybe that, whatever the minimum dollar amount, whatever we got to spend, these guys just could have had more food.
They just got to eat more, right?
Just
yeah.
like, here you go.
Eat your third biscuit and shut up.
Here you go. Pockets, football tonight. Eh?
Yes, Rebolts, 6:30 kick.
6:30. Tony's got bowls tonight as well.
Bowls and Bishop Kenny district championship game.
And they both make the playoffs, you're telling me.
Both teams are going to wind up in the playoffs, but one of them's going to be hosting a playoff game. The other, we'll see.
The other one gets to do like the Braves and hoist a not quite state championship level flag.
Look at this funny guy right here, man.
Right?
Funny guy.
That's how they do, right? I mean, that's nice for them. So, D-Rock, we got some injured Jaguars.
Yeah.
And several of them are returning to the practice field. Let's kind of roll through them here. Start with Walker Little. What do you expect? Do you think he'll return to play this week?
I do not. I think Walker Little sits this one out, and I think he comes back after the bye week.
Okay. What about Zay Jones?
Yeah, that was interesting because Doug said yesterday that he anticipates some of those guys doing something in practice at some point this week. But then Zay wasn't there yesterday, so I don't know on Zay yet. Didn't see him in the locker room yesterday to talk to him either, so that'll be something to monitor today. But if he doesn't go today, then I would not expect him this weekend.
D-Rock's the bringer of bad news, Tony. What about Tyson Campbell?
I was surprised to see him back out on the field, the practice field. He was limited. So that's a possibility. I originally thought last week that there's no way he plays against the Saints, and they probably hold him out this week too and give him, basically a month.
Might.
Yeah, and still might. So it'll be interesting to see what he does this week and if he's limited today. But he was moving around pretty good over there. You just got to be careful with hamstrings, man. Those are the last thing you want to do is bring them back too soon and tweak it again, and then the next thing you know,
it's 6 weeks.
Yeah, and so that one's monitored too. I like I said, originally thought he wouldn't play this week, but now I'm not so sure.
And then finally, Devon Hamilton's been out almost 2 months.
Yeah, full participant yesterday. I'm expecting him
last
to go.
week too.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to go this week. The goal was to get him back before the bye, and if he's ready and feels good, there's no reason not to play him.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tone. Right, like it depends on the nature of the injury, but I did have the sense that maybe Walker Little and Zay Jones would both be back before we saw Devon Hamilton on the field, and it definitely sounds like it's trending in a different direction right now.
Sure, it was, and again, last week's injury reports, the Thursday night games make them weird, don't they?
Yeah.
It's like Devon Hamilton, a full participant 2 days.
Right, estimated.
Doing what?
Yeah.
Like they're not really practicing on that short week, but it is good. Yesterday, full practice, that does mean something. For Devon Hamilton to be a full participant at that point. And it does speak to, with the list of guys that we just went through, he's the guy practicing full. So he would be the guy that you would expect to have the best shot to play this week among the 4 guys we're talking about right there. And look, I don't know what it's fair to expect out of Devon Hamilton, who hadn't played at all to this point this season. In his first game back, DeJuan Smoot, we saw him coming back a couple weeks ago.
He played 30-plus snaps in that first game. I think that might be a little much for
That
Devon.
might be a little bit much, right? But they certainly could use having somebody added to whatever juice they do or don't have along that defensive front at this point.
Yeah, and look, they've been really good against the run without him, and he's probably their best defensive lineman, Devon Hamilton. So that should really, when he gets back to playing the full load, whether that's the week after the bye or the week after that defensive front's going to be really, really good.
It's interesting because the overall rushing numbers are very low against the Jags, right? But I do wonder, in part, because I was looking at some ESPN advanced statistics yesterday, D-Rock, on
metrics.
the program.
We call them metrics.
I understand. Simpletons call them statistics. Anyway, they were talking about run block and pass block win rates and run stop and pass rush win rates, right? So basically how your offense and defense are doing, for or against the run and the pass. And the best metric for the Jags was they were 12th with offensive run block win rate, despite the fact that they're like top 3 running team, or I'm sorry, I'm getting it messed up, defensive run stop win rate, right?
Okay.
Because they're ranked so highly against the run. They don't give up that many yards. Does it surprise you that they're only 12th, like in what I guess would be the statistic that most closely correlates to how you're stopping the run?
Well, with that, the run block, I mean, that's a measure of guys getting off blocks and stuff like that. So I don't I'll be honest with you, I don't know how some of those stats are really kind of determined.
I think it's not ESPN's problem. It's PFF's problem. It's all these next gen stats kind of thing.
Well, and I think game situation probably explains it.
Some of it.
Like teams aren't running the ball as much in the second half against this Jaguars team. So they're 12th against the run, but nobody's doing it in the second half of these football games. So maybe when they get into a tight game all the way through, we'll see if that happens this week against Pittsburgh. Now, the Steelers don't run the ball particularly well, right? Like, so it would be a bit of a different matchup, but I think that goes more into explaining why they would be 12th and still be top 5 against the run is how many big leads they've had in the second half this year.
Yeah, and you can look at their pass defense, which I think, yards per game is 30th, 31st?
Something like that.
In the NFL. Yeah, I mean, they've had teams try and throw it all over the place to try and get back in these games. And, St. Buffalo, New Orleans, Atlanta, that's kind of what they dealt with. But, even in the first half of those games, they were pretty good. They were good against the run. So, I look at it from that standpoint. When the game's in doubt and teams have their full offense, I guess, available to them, they've been really good against the run. So that's why, I think that, however you want to look at those metrics, they're still one of the best teams defensively against the run.
I think we're all thrilled with the way the defense has played, particularly against the run so far this year. But, you always got to kind of look and see if there are any little landmines lurking in the high grass, so to speak. I probably am mixing metaphors on that one a little bit. But let me give you today's Chad and Sandy Real Estate question of the day. Trade deadline coming up, what is it, on Halloween, right?
October 31st.
Yes, 4 p.m. With the trade deadline rapidly approaching, which of these scenarios do you think is the most likely for the Jags? Will they trade for defensive help? Will they trade for offensive help? Or will they stand pat? And offensive help would likely be in the form of maybe something on the line along those lines. Couldn't imagine, the need to acquire too much at the skill positions right now. But regardless, that's the poll for today, and heavily skewing towards trading for some kind of help with this team. We'll discuss how likely that scenario is now with the trade deadline about 5.5 days away. Also today, we'll hear from Trevor Lawrence. He spoke yesterday. We've got the Breakfast Bowl Week 8 coming up in hour number 2. Mike DeRocco is here. If you want to be a part of the program, 641-1010 on the phone lines. That is the All-Pro Roofing phone line. Same number for the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up in the YouTube chat or on X or Twitter at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at ESPN DeRocco, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Hold my pocket.
All right, we're off and rolling. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here. NFL season in full throttle. Week 8 kicking off tonight. You want a little action on the line? Maybe your fantasy teams are already rock solid and you don't need a tinker. Maybe they're terrible and you want a little more juice on the games. How about Underdog's Pick'em game? It's so easy to use. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog Fantasy mobile app, and when you sign up as a first-time customer, just use promo code 1010XL. Underdog will match your first deposit all the way up to $500. Then you go to the Pick'em tab, and you pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they go higher or lower on one of their stats, and then do what you usually spend game day doing, putting your feet up, watching football, and hopefully you'll win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. A fantasy game, yes, but the cash is very real. So get started tonight at UnderdogFantasy.com. The matching offer up to $500 won't last forever. You do have to be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. He started his career coming off the edge, and now he cuts the coach's film.
Join me, Jeff Loggeman, for Check the Tape Tuesday on Jaguars Today.
Brought to you by Mr. Sparky of the First Coast, your on-time electrician on 1010XL. Now, the Florida State Seminole Report, brought to you by your local Ag Pro, your home team.
Florida State's Jordan Travis was named the ACC Co-Quarterback of the Week, while kick returner Deuce Spahn was named the ACC Special Teams Player of the Week. Spahn is FSU's second consecutive Special Teams player to receive received the honor. Travis previously received the ACC Quarterback of the Week award after the Noles' 45-24 win over LSU. FSU has 11 Player of the Week awards this season. I'm RJ Saunders with your Ag Pro Seminole Report.
Fall into savings at your local Ag Pro. Get a John Deere 1023E compact tractor and loader to help maintain your property for just $181 per month, plus 0% financing for 84 months. And don't forget to ask about our Machinery Shield extended warranty. Visit agproco.com/fall or stop by your local Ag Pro to learn more. Offer ends 10/27/23. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
At Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville, it's a great time to buy a luxury Cadillac.
2024 XT5s and XT6s.
CT4s and CT5s.
With 2.9% financing for 36 months.
And a $1,500 discount when you finance through Cadillac Financial on XT5s and XT6s.
It's a great time to get the luxury Cadillac you've been wanting.
And we've got a huge selection of certified pre-owned Cadillacs that are like brand new.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville. Plus tax tag title, $8.99 admin fee and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Mia here, and I'm on the Brackish vodka train too. Brackish has some exciting news for all you fans out there, as they've just introduced 2 new incredible flavors that are sure to elevate your experience. Get ready to meet espresso and elderflower. First up, espresso. Made with rich Cuban coffee and a touch of chocolate confessions, it's not too sweet and perfectly balanced, just like your favorite plays on the field. Drink like a local. Drink Brackish Vodka, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Get wet with Captain Kevin.
Whoa.
And remember to bring your net on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show.
Oh, that's a beauty!
Brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Look at him!
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. For 46 years, Monahan's has been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with thousands of items of fine jewelry on display. But did you know we also have the fastest jewelry repair in town? That's right, our team of master jewelers are among the best craftsmen Jacksonville has to offer, and Monahan's can execute almost any repair with one-day service. Ring sizing, stone setting, prong replacement, one-day turnaround. Monahan's has the fastest jewelry repair in town. It doesn't matter how complex, Monahan's can do it in 1 day or 2. Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Life's not complete without music. Friday, November 10th, 8 p.m. at Players Grill Mandarin, Julia Gulia takes the stage with unforgettable performances from the 90s, 2000s, and originals. It's not your average cover band. Players Grill Mandarin, where the neighborhood meets.
I'm Frank Franzi, and I'm so impressed with Darley's Plumbing and the work they're doing at our new Walk-Off Charities field. The Darley's team has been so easy to work with on this great project. I heard good reviews about them for years, and they have absolutely proved it to me. I learned Darley's is a company I can trust for my plumbing needs, and you can too.
Thanks for those kind words, Frank. At Darley's Plumbing, we don't just do residential house calls. We're your first draft pick for commercial business plumbing too. Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners, Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy, higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Hey, Jacks fans, we're heading into Week 10, and this team isn't slowing down.
How good is that?
Be at Everbank Stadium as the Jaguars kick off the second half of their home schedule against the San Francisco 49ers Sunday, November 12th. We'll be celebrating homecoming with appearances from various Jaguars legends, and you won't want to miss out. Kickoff is set for 1 p.m., and tickets are going fast, so visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000 to secure your seat at the bank.
Hi, this is Dale Murray from South Georgia to Central Florida and coast to coast. The Murray Ford Superstores are still putting the customers first and cranking out the deals those big city dealers can't touch. It's no wonder everybody's driving driving to Murray Ford Superstore to purchase their new vehicle. It's simple. If Murray Ford Superstores doesn't have it, the manufacturer doesn't build it. Plus, you get a 15-year, 150,000-mile warranty included on every qualified new and pre-owned vehicle. Shazam! Holy Jesus Aruba Batman, how do we do it? There's no reason for your purchase to take all day, running around with those big city dealers and being flim-flammed with those big city prices. Nobody beats our prices, and I mean nobody. And we'll trade anything from aluminum cans to minivans. Be American, buy Murray Ford Superstore. Compare our prices online at ShazamAuto.com. Then come see me, Dale Murray, in Stark or Kingsland. I'll be waiting for you. And remember, at any Murray Superstore, it's all about you. Shazam!
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's a Mike DeRocco Thursday on Jaguars Today. Is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
Yeah, I'd probably see that for a little bit longer. So, it felt it's a little uncomfortable just wearing it because you're not used to it, but didn't feel too bad. I didn't think it hindered my ability to move too much. I felt pretty good. So it went well, and see it again this week.
Trevor Lawrence going to stick with the knee brace, and why not? Didn't seem to impede him.
Nope.
Give you a little extra support, maybe a little extra mental fortitude that, if somebody's buzzing around you in the pocket, that you're going to be okay. And D-Rock, I don't think if you didn't know Trevor was hurt going in, you'd know, other than seeing the brace, the outline of the brace under his pants, you wouldn't know. It didn't seem to affect him at all.
No, and here's the funny thing. So after the game in the locker room, I was talking to Jamal Agnew, and I asked him about Christian Kirk's touchdown catch and run, and he said, I don't think I've ever seen Christian Kirk run faster. And then, I asked Christian after, in the post-game news conference, he's like, I don't think I ran that fast since college, joking around.
Right.
So I actually went on Next Gen Stats and I looked up the fastest times for the ball carriers in that game. Okay, Jags. So number 1 was Travis Etienne. Number 2 was Jamal Agnew on a 9-yard punt return.
Okay.
Number 3, take a guess who was number 3?
Trevor.
Trevor Lawrence.
That 26
on the 23-yard scramble.
It was, yeah.
20 miles per hour flat. And so Kirk actually had the fourth and fifth fastest, and his touchdown catch and run was the 5th fastest. It was like 19.76 miles an hour.
It was fast enough.
Right, it was fast enough.
It was plenty fast
but
enough.
I was not expecting Trevor with the bad knee to be in the top 10, but he was in the top 3.
No, and he said, he felt better running in a straight line, you know, and he's a long strider. He's one of those build-up speed guys, and we've seen it on a couple of occasions. You go back and see those Clemson breakaway touchdown runs where they're not breaking ankles. They're just, but he's fast.
He is.
Like in a straight line, he can really move.
Right.
So glad he came through unscathed. Hope it goes the same way this week. Before we get to more thoughts from Trevor Lawrence, had a couple here. One on the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Person texts in, I did a lot of texting about Darius Williams and Trey Herndon beginning of the season. Now I'm eating all my words. Hey, get in line probably particularly on Trey Herndon. I think we had hoped that Darius Williams could hold up. We talked about him yesterday. D-Rock, you weren't here. We were talking about the most improved players on this team. I think he's certainly one of the 6 or 8 most improved, and it's evident by some of the numbers he's putting up, the coverage that he's been putting out there. And I saw John Shipley retweet something from PFF this morning. Last 4 weeks, 316 coverage snaps for Darius Williams. No touchdowns allowed and 11 pass breakups / interceptions. That's pretty good.
That's elite level stuff right there.
And you're playing as the number 1 when Tyson's not in there. So about a game and a half of that.
He's been fantastic. Him and if I were picking 2 guys, it would be him, or picking guys as the most improved, it would be between him and Devin Lloyd.
What do you think about Anton Harrison, how much he has improved from, not obviously from last year, but from the first couple weeks of the season to where he stands at the moment?
That's exactly what you want to see out of a young guy thrust into a role that maybe, he might not have even been 100% truly ready for. And, by the way, let's not forget that he's still got that bad shoulder, I guess, that he's still dealing with. I guess it's not a bad shoulder, but, he had that shoulder issue. I think if you put him in that game right now against Chris Jones, I think it would be a different ball game than the way it was in week 2. That's how much he's improved. I'm not saying he dominates,
right?
But
he'd fare better, though.
Right? He absolutely would fare better, and that's what you want to see, the guy get progressively better, because that gives you the faith to know that, you know what, we now don't have to worry about that spot for the next 5 to 7 years.
I continue to hear Fortner needs to be better, right? Needs to be stronger. How much can that change during the season? You know what I mean? I don't know if it can.
No, I mean, strength-wise, these guys, it's about maintaining at this point, and it's about recovery at this point. That's.
But can you turn into, Tony, can you go from being a guy with good mobility, can pull, do all those different things, to being a guy who can road grade? I'm sure you can get somewhat better in that category. I don't know if you can completely become a different type of player, though.
I think it's tough to expect any of that to happen in season, right? Like, whatever he's at physically, right, strength-wise, that's where he's going to be at this point. Maybe that's something you can work on next offseason. But I do think it's interesting to think about D-Rock. What do they want their offensive linemen to be, right? Like, I'm sure they want Luke Fortner to be a little bit stronger than he is at this point in time, right? Like, I'm sure that they want that from him. But they do. They move their guys around a lot. This is not a mauling offensive line. This is more a finesse group, right? So that's more what they're looking for, is that kind of thing. Not to say that they want him to be stronger, I would imagine, than what they've seen from him the first couple of years, but they don't want it to. They want him to move the way he can move and add a little bit of strength, is at least the way I see it.
Yeah, and look, their short yardage is not good.
No.
And he has gotten stronger than he was last year, but it's the interior, the 2 guards and the center. That was the big issue for them last year. They needed those positions to be significantly better, significantly stronger, and that's also why they drafted Tank Bigsby. And Tank Bigsby has really not gotten it done either. So they need, I think next year we'll see 2 totally different guards on the field there. I think Cooper Hodges will probably be the guy at the right guard spot, and then we'll see what they do at left guard. But it's not going to be Ben Barch. We'll see what happens.
You don't think it'll be Walker Little?
It could be. It depends on what they do with Cam Robinson. If they keep Cam and they work out something to keep Cam, then it will be. But if not, then he's going to be your left tackle.
If Travis Etienne were to miss a week right now, would they feel more comfortable with Dearness Johnson or Tank Bigsby as the lead guy?
Dearness. Although Tank has more carries, got 20, and I think Dearness has 7. But I think they would go with the veteran guy that's done it before.
Pass pro.
Right, and that's the big thing as well. Tank Bigsby still has a lot of work to do there.
All right, you got to protect number 16 to be sure. Trevor Lawrence, though, acknowledging yesterday, I played banged up, and I did it for my teammates last week.
Feels good, I think just doing my job really is what it is, and being able to do that, and regardless of the circumstances, whether you're 100% or maybe not 100%. There's a lot of guys, I don't want to take all the attention away from other guys that are playing banged up too. So it's not just about me, it's about the team, and I think that's what is the thought process with all of us, whether you're playing through injury or whatever it may be. There's a lot of guys that do that on our team and on every other team every week. So that's not necessarily the most uncommon thing, but it does feel good to be able to deliver when you need to and to play well for your team and all those things. And, of course, it's not perfect. Don't feel like I had my best game by any means on Thursday, but to be able to do the things I needed to do to help us win, and it was a full team effort. It was a good feeling for sure.
Isn't it nice to have a franchise guy, right, where that's the way he's talking about, I'm playing hurt. I have to play hurt, right? Like that's part of the business here is if I'm good enough to play, I'm going to play kind of thing. And I was just thinking back in my head, when's the last time the Jags had a quarterback that when he set out, you weren't going, oh, okay, right? Like if Trevor Lawrence misses a week, you're like, oh, my gosh, right? But we've had guys that have been running there.
Maybe Cody Kessler will be fine. I don't know. Maybe,
It'll be nice to have a look at this guy, see what he's got, right? But Trevor doesn't open that door.
There's a segment of this popular fan base that is fully convinced that if Trevor ever missed a game, Nathan Rourke would be in there and would never relinquish the job.
Bro, there's a segment that thinks the same as C.J. Beathard. It's just smaller than the Nathan Rourke segment. Mm-hmm. There's a segment for everything out there, and that's fine. fan the way
That's
you're
actually
fan.
not fine. To think that about Nathan Rourke, it is not
Here's
fine.
the thing. It doesn't matter what you think because
Right.
we know what the reality is. You lose 16, you're losing your best chance to win on a weekly basis.
We discussed earlier in the week the comments from Trevor Lawrence talking about the critics out there, right? You know, even the hashtag analyst. He threw it out there, right?
I asked him that question.
Yeah, but he asked
Let's find out what
about
he said.
he was asked to explain his social media post about those critics.
Kind of speaks for itself, you know. It's like one of those things. You find ways to win. You get criticism, and you don't win games. You get criticism. So it's the nature of the business. Obviously, we're used to that here, so it doesn't bug us. But I think it's just, you know, it's a good reminder just to everyone that, you know, we use all this. It's a chip on our shoulder. We use it as fuel. That's really all it was. Nothing more to it. Obviously, those people are doing their jobs too at the same time, so you understand it. But I think it's good to have a little emotion and remember kind of things that people say, and we don't forget it when people are backtracking in a few weeks or into the season, whatever it is. So that's all it was.
All right.
It doesn't bug us, but it's a chip on our shoulder.
Right. It doesn't bug us.
Yeah.
I noticed it. I made a post about it. And the follow-up says he's 100% keeping receipts.
Oh, yes.
Pockets.
Yeah, 100%. Everybody does a little bit. Maybe some more than others, you know. Others more than me probably. But definitely I think you use all that, and that's part of getting our edge back as a team. That's what we've done the last few weeks, and we're going to keep doing it.
Look, I frankly have no issue with it whatsoever. None, right? You're creating this, true narrative, false narrative, doesn't matter, right? There's that mythical locker room narrative. You step in the locker room, it's a different reality. They believe what they're going to believe in there because they have to get themselves in the right mental mind space to play out this marathon of a season and continue to find things to motivate themselves along the way. I honestly don't have any issue with it at all. It's just hilarious. Doesn't bother us. Don't notice it. I'm sure you do. That's the whole
Doesn't
reason
bother
we're
us,
talking
but
about it
we
all
keep
week.
receipts.
We keep,
Yes.
some more than others. That's probably me. Here's the thing, though. Okay, if you look up, almost every power poll has the Jags in the top 5 now. Top 6 or 7 at the worst, right?
Right.
So, you know, you did beat Buffalo head-to-head. I think this came to a head because Richard Sherman made the comments.
I'm not sure. That's what I wanted to find out, and I wasn't able to talk to him in the locker room. What was it, Sherman? Because
I
that
think
seems
so.
to be what we all think.
Well, he made the critique, as Tony and I have talked about several times this week, acknowledging, I don't watch this team. Then what is your critique worth? If you don't really watch him, then, you know, as an analyst, like, we all can look at numbers and try to figure out what the numbers mean. But if you're really going to talk about this guy's like the 17th or 18th best quarterback, if that's your opinion, back it up, show us the evidence. And when you say, I didn't watch the guy play, I don't watch the Jaguars, then to me your opinion is moot. And then Chris Broussard comes out like the next day and gives a list of teams that he thinks are better than Jacksonville, including Buffalo, who they just beat. And so, you know.
My thing would be, if I'm in charge at Amazon, my thing would be, I don't want my analysts that I've hired to analyze games and players on Thursday Night Football to admit on the air that they have not watched the teams.
Correct.
So, I mean, from that standpoint, Richard Sherman probably made a mistake saying that. I mean, I don't want to call anybody out here, but like I don't know that I would admit that. Like, if I don't know something, I'm going to tell you guys I don't know.
Here's the thing. You're a Thursday Night Football analyst. You're not a Sunday Football analyst. You're not a Monday Night Football analyst. How about watch a couple of games of the two teams that are playing on Thursday night? That'd be a place to start.
Yeah.
You know, as an analyst, and you want to talk about at least the two most recent games. Whatever. You don't have to watch all 6 or 7 or whatever the case may be.
From a journalistic perspective, I would not have said that.
And so I get it. Like, if you're out there, you're like, hey, we just won 4 in a row. We did it in 4 different stadiums in a short period of time. I think, what is it, Tony? Aaron Rodgers, the only other guy to do it within like a 20-day period to win in 4 different stadiums. And
with
have,
a 90-plus
with a 90-plus quarterback rating in all of them. He had 100-plus in 3 out of the 4. And so, yeah, I get it. Like, we're finding ways to win. And I think some of the critique of Trevor Lawrence as well, we thought he'd have 35 touchdowns and 8 interceptions this year or whatever. Well, but, you know, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's failing to meet your lofty expectations. Is he playing smart, winning football? Is he giving the Jags a better chance to win on a weekly basis? I think the clear answer is yes, if you watch the games.
If you watched any game from the first half of last season and now you're watching this team right now, you can't sit there and say he has not markedly improved and not significantly taken the step to become an elite quarterback. You can't not see that if you're not paying attention.
More from
or if you are paying
the guy on the way. I don't say he's an elite quarterback yet. I think he has
on
elite
the way.
traits. No,
on the way.
No, that's what you said. Yeah. But absolutely, he's got the toolkit to get there and stay there for a long, long time and enjoy the fits and starts that you get with a 24-year-old Trevor Lawrence, national media, because those are going to get ironed out a lot over the next couple of years as well, and he's still only going to be 26 years old. Like, my gosh. More from Trevor coming up on the other side. If you want to get in with a comment or question, you're certainly welcome to. Today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, asking you what's the most likely for the Jags at the trade deadline. Do they add defensive help? Do they add offensive help? Or do they stand pat with the roster the way it is? What do you think is the most likely out of those scenarios? Hit us up on social media with your reply to that as well. Mike DeRocco's here. Breakfast Bowl coming up at 20 after the next hour. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180. Dropped over 25 pounds in the month of September, but the beauty is those pounds haven't found me. I left them in the rearview mirror, and with Awaken 180, you set a goal, and then they set out a plan for you based on their proven methodology and your lifestyle as well. It's got to work for you. It's got to be something you're going to stay with, and they were able to tweak my plan at Awaken 180 Weight Loss thanks to a great coach named Mandy that I've had, and I'm still working with Mandy because you get lifetime support from Awaken 180. Hit your goal weight with them, and support is free from that point on, just to try to keep that weight in a manageable spot. That's always been my challenge. So whether you've got the challenge of dropping 20, 50, 100 pounds or more and wanting to keep it off, Awaken 180 Weight Loss is the way to go. Call for a free consultation at 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, and drop the pounds like I do online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Can't get enough Jaguar football?
That's what I'm talking about.
Good. We can't either. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. A big play can make or break a team's chance to win.
That's an NFL play right there.
But there's only one performance-painting, high-performance play of the game.
He is gone.
On 1010XL, performance painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Key Buick GMC receives special financing on GMC's rates as low as 0.9% for 36 months, 2.9% for 48 months, 3.9% for 60 months, and even 5.9% for 72 months. With a $2,500 Buick and GMC purchase, loyalty, in addition to $1,250 GM bonus cash. Whenever you purchase a brand new vehicle from Key, whether it's a Buick or a GMC, it always comes with the lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
More than qualified to handle your roof. Call J&M and we'll show you the proof. Check with our customers and they all say only one way to go, the J&M way.
We take pride in doing quality work at a fair price, and you can finance your new roof for as low as $139 per month. J&M Roofing, under the umbrella. Call 904-337-0509.
License number CCC 1331951.
Pastor Joby Martin here with the Church of 1122. We are honored once again to partner with the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida for the Great Futures Weekend, which includes golf and Mackenzie's 5K run at the esteemed TPC Stadium course. Help us continue to honor Mackenzie Wilson's legacy. That's Friday and Saturday, November 17th and 18th. You can golf or you can run. It'll be a great time. Additional info at MackenzieRun.org. Proceeds go to the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida.
Did you know that all graduates of Local 234's apprenticeship program are licensed journeymen? That means all plumbers, pipe fitters, welders, and HVAC techs will have hundreds of hours of experience and have passed the Jacksonville City Licensed Journeyman exam. They're the best trained and safest skilled tradespeople in the industry. Don't leave yourself exposed to inadequate workmanship or even danger. Always hire a licensed journeyman. Local 234. Make the right connection. Equal opportunity employer.
A breakfast deserving of a gold jacket.
This is the greatest omelet I ever tasted.
Breakfast with Boselli.
Monday mornings on The Drill.
Breakfast.
Brought to you by Epstein and Robbins DUI Defense Firm and Mr. Rooter Plumbing of Jacksonville. Breakfast provided by Chick-fil-A.
Living on Amelia Island? Having fun in Fernandina Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect pilsners and lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Fernandina Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
Your car is like part of your family. It takes you to work, drops the kids off at school, goes with you on vacation. You feel safe in your car, but all that can change in an instant due to someone else's carelessness. Now you need money for medical bills, car repairs, lost wages. You need help, and you need it now. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us at 396-5555. Farah and Farah, protecting you and your family since 1979. Jacksonville.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
Everybody, Mike Dempsey here. Look, when I first stepped into Awaken 180 weight loss, they didn't just ask about the pounds I wanted to drop. They dug deeper, wanting to know the why behind it. What did I want to accomplish by dropping the weight? On-camera appearances where I feel confident? Check. Less joint pain? Double check. How about achieving a healthy body composition? That's a big check. And you know, I wasn't even sure how much I needed to lose at the start. It was about more than just a number on the scale. It was about reaching that optimal composition where everything in my body clicked into place. With the guidance of my outstanding coach, Mandy, we nailed down that number, 25 pounds, and in just over a month, boom, mission accomplished. My metabolism's now firing on all cylinders as I haven't put a pound back on. What are your goals? Bring them to Awaken 180 weight loss, and trust me, you'll be checking off those boxes in no time. Call 844-346-1800 to get started. That's 844-346-1800, or go online to awaken180weightloss.com.
I-9 Sports, the way youth sports should be, and right now inviting parents to sign up for the fall and winter seasons. Registration open at i9sports.com. Ages 3 and up. Duval, Clay, St. John's. Convenient for busy families. Enter promo code 1010 for a discount.
All right, Jeff, all I need you to say is, hi, I'm Jeff Lagerman, and me and everybody I played professional football with thinks Shark Coatings is the best.
I'm not going to do that.
You can't. What will you say?
Well, I mean, look, the floor is durable. It's easy to clean. It looks fantastic. It's the second time I've used it. What more do I need to say?
I mean, that works too, I guess.
Okay. Can you step off the ladder?
No one's going to know.
Trust me, they'll know. You're not as tall as I. Thanks.
Congrats to former Georgia head coach Mark Richt and wide receiver Terrence Edwards' induction into the Florida Georgia Hall of Fame. To attend their induction lunch presented by Miller Electric Company Friday, October 27th, visit flgajax.com.
This is Dr. James Perry, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Lawrence's knee showed to be no problem in the Thursday night's victory over the Saints. However, the Jags QB says he still takes every day by day, continues to play smart with it as he prepares for this Sunday.
Yeah, I'll probably see that for a little bit longer. So, if it felt it's a little uncomfortable just wearing it because you're not used to it, but didn't feel too bad. I didn't think it hindered my ability to move too much. I felt pretty good. So it went well, and see it again this week.
Trevor Lawrence, courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555, Jacksonville. D-Rock on Jags Today is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air, commercial and residential on 1010XL.
It's fun to watch Anton kind of get better every week. He's been playing really, really good ball, and it's exciting to watch him just keep getting better.
That's what we talked about earlier. One of the improved guys is not a guy who was here last year, Anton Harrison, playing better. Offensive line had their best game of the season. Let's hope that keeps up. By the way, you want to see some middle-aged dudes pound their fists on the table? Play Paradise City. Okay? I mean, that's...
we were just reminiscing about Blockbuster, too, by the
We
way.
were. Like, hey, remember good old Blockbuster on a Friday night, D-Rock? Couldn't get anything.
You're waiting by the return slot. Hey, are you returning one of the new releases?
There was always a movie, I think, for everybody. Like, you went through Blockbuster, and you went around, you're like, all the new releases are out, and you see all the same movies that have been sitting in there.
Right.
And that you've passed for weeks, and there'd always be that one that you think about getting, and you never quite did. At least for me, there was. And that one, for me, was The Machinist, right, with Christian Bale.
With Bale, yeah.
Like, I look at it, and I'm like, do I really want to see a dude starve away to nothing? Probably
Eventually, yes.
If they open up another block, but I've yet to see it, so I didn't succumb.
I would always go to, like, the horror section and get those, like, they weren't even B-grade horror movies. They were, like, C or D-grade
Super
horror
cheesy
movies.
ones.
It's the best.
They were awesome.
Oh, yeah.
They were awesome. But, yeah, that was fun.
Good day.
I
Good
still
times.
watch it. I know
Great
Hulu
oldies.
has a new one about a sloth. And I
What?
every day I look at it, I'm like, this is gonna happen at some point. Like, I'm gonna watch
I'm
this
gonna
horror
run out
movie
of stuff.
about a sloth. It's just gonna happen. You
Pockets.
get an hour and a half of it.
You ever go to a Blockbuster?
Oh, yeah. West Side. They had one over there.
Okay.
Normandy Boulevard.
Didn't know what the
Yeah.
time frame was.
How many Blockbusters were in Jacksonville, roughly?
Bunch.
Couple? Okay.
A
bunch.
bunch.
Had to be a
There
ton
was
of
like,
more. I
if
don't
you
know.
had a neighborhood, you had a Blockbuster.
Okay.
Like,
Pretty much,
it was
right?
pretty much the way it worked. I know the one that I would go to was a block away from where I lived, and we would go to Turtles Video.
Oh, yeah.
Like every Friday, that was the thing. It was like, we're going to Turtles Video, you get to pick 3. And I would pick, the same movies every week. It didn't matter. It's like, all right, Tremors again. That kind of thing. But that was a blast.
I
You
know
get
there
them for
were
a
two-
whole week, too. Like, that was back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The new releases you could only have for, 3 days?
3 days.
Yeah. The younger you are, the more you'd watch the same movie over and over. Right?
Yeah.
At least for me, that was the case.
Yeah.
Like now, I'm like, I've seen it. All right. Let's move along here. 641-1010 if you want to get in on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines. Andrew in Fleming Island has done that. Andrew, good morning.
Hey, yeah, good morning, guys. First-time caller.
What's up?
Yeah, I had a theory. I wanted to get your thoughts. So, I noticed after the 2 home game losses that the team looks sluggish, and I know, like training camp in the heat is supposed to theoretically help these guys, but in my mind, like they look slow, they look sluggish. So when I was telling everyone, I was like, when they go to London, I know they're going to go on a winning streak. So they went up, they got those 2 wins in London, and then they got the home game win. The weather was good. So I'm thinking we're going to continue this win streak. I just wanted to get your theory, your thoughts.
Yeah, all right. I would not. My first rebuttal would be, well, they didn't really look sluggish in week 1 versus Indy. And I get it. You're playing in a climate-controlled environment. But in terms of if training camp kind of beat you down and your legs aren't there for the season, I would think it would show up in that game. I'm not saying there's nothing to it. I don't know, Tone. I mean, it's hot out. It's human nature. You're going to be a little bit more sluggish maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And they certainly didn't look prepared. They certainly against Houston. They just looked like a team that was kind of playing sluggish and in slow motion a little bit. So, I don't know. There's nothing you can really do to change it other than if you practice indoors, and I think that they want to practice outside as much to acclimate themselves to it, Mike.
Yeah, they didn't in camp. They didn't go indoors at all. It was all outside, which
Did have a rain day or two along the
no,
way?
not where they had to go inside. I don't
Okay.
believe. Like I don't know that it impacted them in the Kansas City game. I mean, I thought they played poorly and they made dumb mistakes, and maybe you can attribute that to the heat. I don't know. I don't know if we can say it had an impact or not, but I know this, like when you're playing golf and it's hot and I'm playing crappy, I notice the heat more.
If you're not playing well,
right,
sure.
yeah, if you're playing, yeah.
If you're playing well, you're like, damn, the ball's flying in this heat today,
it's like,
right?
Ooh, it's not that
love
hot.
it.
Yeah. So maybe that was a factor, in the latter part of that Houston game. I don't know.
All right, let's move along here. Let's jump into cut 6 here. Dylan, if we could, what has been the impact on the Jaguars offense for the last few weeks without Zay Jones?
Yeah, it's definitely an impact. Anytime you're missing, especially a starter that's out and that you're used to playing with, and especially a player like Zay, is a really good player. We have great chemistry. We have a great rapport, and I just think whenever you're missing a guy like that, it's going to impact you to some extent. That's why he's one of our best players. There's a reason for that, and the impact that he makes on the field. So, of course, we miss him and want him back out there, and we know that'll happen eventually, but at the same time, guys have stepped up. Guys have done a great job. Obviously, it's been a little different, and you have to kind of plan around that. And whenever you're missing any player, that's what you have to do.
And we talked about these guys right at the outset of the show in terms of who you think is likely to be back. Sounds like you think maybe Devon Hamilton most likely, Tyson Campbell second most likely to return this week.
Yeah, I think that's
not a guarantee. I'm not saying you're guaranteeing they'll be back.
I was a little surprised to see Tyson in helmet and shoulder pads yesterday. I thought he would be sort of just kind of working off to the side or whatever, but he went through the warm-ups and stuff. Now, obviously, he was limited, so he didn't get the full reps. But, yeah, I was not expecting him to be back on the practice field until after the bye.
We did a poll, Tone, the other day, which one of these 4 injured guys do the Jags most need back. Tyson Campbell won that poll, but it was fairly even split at the top between he and Zay Jones. D-Rock, how much has his absence impacted things, whether it's as a red zone weapon that they could throw to, a field stretcher to keep defenses honest? Just do you think it's been a noticeable difference and impact on this offense not having Zay?
I do. I think it's been an impact on Calvin Ridley, for sure, because there's no worry about anyone taking the top off or going deep on the other side there. Tim Jones is the other outside guy, and no one's worried about getting beat by Tim Jones. You saw it against obviously New Orleans, where they were bracketing and had a safety over the top, and were not going to let Calvin Ridley beat them. And you don't have to worry about Evan Ingram, beating you deep down the field. That's kind of not how the Jags use them. And you don't have to worry, in theory, about, Christian Kirk being a guy that you're going to get beat down the field either, although, he certainly has shown that he can. So you just don't want to give up the big play. That's what you don't want to do. So when you're bracketing Ridley, and because there's nobody else on the other side, there's no threat of that. So I think, that doesn't mean like Calvin Ridley can't make those plays or whatever, but I think there was an element of early in the season Trevor might have been forcing the ball a little bit more to Calvin Ridley, and I'm not saying he's going the other way, but certainly there's no reason to force it to him in that coverage that he was facing the other day. So I think having Zay back will definitely help the offense. I think it's a more complete group when he's back, and there's now someone that the defense has to worry about on that other side.
We just heard Trevor Lawrence talking about Anton Harrison and where he's at. Let's talk about the offensive line as a whole. Had a really good day last week against New Orleans pass blocking. They've had really good days run blocking at times this year, but it doesn't feel like they've put it together, pass and run, at least to this point this season. But Trevor Lawrence was asked about the offensive lineman and said that it's playing great.
They're doing a great job, and other than a game or two here and there, there's we've had some hits, some pressure things, and it's not all been on them for one. But other than those couple instances, I think they've done a really, really great job the last few weeks. Of course, like they don't always get the credit. They only get attention when it's not going well, because that's kind of the nature of the position they play, which sucks. They don't get as much love when they're playing well, which they are right now. So, it's awesome to see those guys really taking pride in it and coming together and gelling even more. I think you're seeing that, and guys are playing as a unit up front. And then individuals are playing great too. I mean, Cam, Sheriff, Shatley, Luke, Anton, all those guys are playing great.
Just want to make sure you named them all. I just
you can kind of see him taking it off in his head.
Making sure they're all playing. You got guys playing great. Let me name all the starters here. Right. All right, so D-Rock, Cam Jordan's been a really good player, but this year he's been just an okay player, right? And so I think it was less of a challenge, certainly than you have with T.J. Watt and Alex Highsmith coming in this week. And if you presume Walker Little doesn't play, how big of a concern is this aspect of the matchup for you?
I think it's probably the number one problem for the team overall. Not counting
offense, defense, whatever.
Offense, defense, whatever. Yeah, you can't let T.J. Watt wreck this game. And, the Steelers are still, for whatever their numbers say to you, stat-wise, they're still a physical, smack-you-in-the-mouth defense, and they take the ball away, and, you can't let, 2 or 3 turnovers happen because then you're going to find yourself in trouble. And I think that, it's going to be a big day for the 2 tackles, obviously, and, it's going to be a big day for Travis Etienne because they're going to have him do some work, chipping guys on the way out. They're going to have him in as pass protection as well. You're going to see some tight ends in there as well to stay in. You'll see a little Brenton Strange there at times too, Luke Farrell. So, it's don't let those 2 guys, and Watt in particular, wreck this game for you, because if you play solid football, you don't turn it over, I think they win this game.
Yeah, they've won 4 of the last 5, with the exception, similar to the Jags, getting beat down by the Houston Texans. I mean, they did, the 30-6. I think that might have been the week after the Jags played them, as a matter of fact. And the others, the 4 wins, they beat Cleveland by 4. They beat Vegas by 5. They beat Baltimore by 7. I mean, that's a good win to beat Baltimore regardless.
Yeah, well, the Ravens dropped like 19 passes in that game.
They did. And the Rams, they beat them by 7. So everything's
Which is a good win.
Close. I mean, any win's a good win, particularly when you look at this year. There's no one absolute dominant team, and every week we're seeing 2 or 3 teams that we regard highly falling to opponents that we think have no business beating them.
Right.
So the fact that you can get any wins right now and just stack them up, if you can get this and you're 6-2 headed into the bye, I mean, my goodness. You guys, Bill Barnwell over at ESPN today did a
wonderful man
a piece on teams' playoff chances improving the most. Okay, the Jags have one of the top 4 differentials in a positive direction. Preseason, their playoff chances or chances to make the playoffs, basically 62%, okay, based on a combination of factors. And that's, you have to trust the input going in there. There's a lot of subjectivity to it. But now, with Tennessee struggling and being sellers with the trade deadline approaching, the sweep over the Colts, yeah, you've lost to the Texans, but you also have a 1.5 game lead. Jags are up to 85.8% likelihood to make the postseason right now. So, 24% improvement.
Yeah, I mean, that's significant. And
that's huge.
And I was, by the way, you mentioned the Titans. I was a little surprised that they're all of a sudden sellers. And if you saw the video of Mike Vrabel talking about, I guess he was answering the question about, are the Titans sellers now or whatever, it looked like he was kind of stunned that that's what was happening. I mean, he
strikes me as the kind of guy that wants to grind and try to win every game,
right?
Whether you're 3-10 and you was try to get to 4-10.
I'm not saying that he didn't know that they were going to trade Byard, but it certainly looked like he was not ready to be in that position.
And not only that, they're going with Will Levis this week, and we don't
and
see
they
what
may
happens
play
behind
both,
the scenes.
He said, too.
They are going to play
Yeah.
both, but they've been playing Malik Willis ahead of him, which indicates Malik Willis has been better throughout the offseason. In practice, you had every chance to get this guy in second-round pick in the pole position in case Tannehill struggled or got hurt. And I feel like they're just like, well, if we're not going anywhere, we might as well let them both play to some degree, find out if we've got one quarterback out of the 2 that we spent draft picks on in the last couple of years. But in the end, couldn't happen to a better franchise.
Tell you what that means is that freaking last game of the season probably won't be a primetime game on like Sunday night or whatever.
Probably not.
Well,
that means it might be that 1:00 game, thank God, and it won't be too freaking cold up there. Not for the players, for me. It's all about me.
Of course.
That's probably not going to be a primetime game.
I'm thinking no at this point. Maybe the San Francisco game, though, coming out of this week, depending.
Depending on what happens to the Niners.
Well, the Niners have lost 2 in a row. You're right. So a little bloom off that rose, but still, you look ahead to week 9 potentially, or week 10 it would be. The Jags versus Niners, still one of the best matchups on the card that day.
We should find out by Tuesday, right? That's 12
I think
days?
Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, one of the two. It's like 13-day window. You got to tell them 2 weeks out, once they played. So, all right, we'll get more from Trevor Lawrence coming up in the second hour. Tony Smith will take us around the rest of the National Football League. We got the Breakfast Bowl draft for Week 8 and more with Mike DiRocco. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go. It's not a game, It's the game.
And welcome to Jacksonville for Florida, Georgia.
The Florida-Georgia game.
It's the world's largest outdoor cocktail party.
Kickoff at 3:30 on the home of the Florida Gators. 1010XL.
Folks, the First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's best in 4 categories: Best Orthopedic Practice, Physical Therapy, Pain Management, and Foot Care Clinic. For the last 30 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can now do it in less than a week. Hey, it's Prosser here, and that's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, or even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. And you don't even have to touch your primary mortgage, so you can keep that 3% rate intact. Just get the money you need and pay off all those credit cards, or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com or 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Picture this. It's a dark and stormy night, and your toilet is acting possessed. But fear not, for Duck Duck Rooter is here to exorcise those plumbing demons and banish them to the nether world. So if you're facing a plumbing horror story straight out of a nightmare, summon the spectral expertise of Duck Duck Rooter. Call 904-862-6769 and bid those plumbing phantoms farewell. Duck Duck Rooter, where we tackle plumbing scares so you don't have to.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
I'm with Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville. And Greg, we are in the fall. That means not only do you need to get out on the road, but you can do it with a Honda. What have you got?
We have got the full line. We've got Honda Goldwings, Honda Groms, Honda BT 750s. You name it, we got it.
Now that means you can get out and take a long road trip, or you can just head to the beach if you want.
You can tool around the beach. You can go to Daytona Beach, whichever you please.
All right, check out the inventory on the showroom floor right now. Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency, or online, cyclesofjacksonville.com.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
Congrats to former Florida running back Ernest Graham and cornerback Joe Hayden's induction into the Florida-Georgia Hall of Fame. To attend their induction lunch presented by Miller Electric Company Friday, October 27th, visit FloridaGeorgiaJax.com.
Here's your 1010XL local sports update, sponsored by YMCA of the First Coast. Get ahead coach Billy Napier during the week off, and this week is stressing the basics, according to QB Graham Mertz.
The emphasis was fundamentals, and I think anytime you get to this point of the season when you've played, 6-7 games, you got to really dive back into the fundamentals of what you're doing, how you're doing it, because you can lose that.
The issue of sign stealing has reared its head in college football. FSU head coach Mike Norvell offered his thoughts on the issue.
Sign stealing within games, that has been forever. Accusations of people going and watching games, well, that's just an unethical thing.
The NBA season got underway for the Florida teams on Wednesday. The Magic defeated the Houston Rockets, and the Heat got by the Detroit Pistons. The NFL will kick off the week this evening when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers face the Buffalo Bills. That's your 1010XL local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
At 11:04, it's 79 degrees. Time and Sim brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Mike DeRocco. Thursday on Jaguars Today is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
All right, Breakfast Bowl in about 15 minutes. Tony, big fat loser last week. See if you can keep it going. We'll have some more breakfast next week. Appreciate you, Tone.
Church say amen.
Church does say amen. Amen. I'm not spotting you a Zach Evans this week, though. Not happening.
Come on, man.
I'm not giving
One more
you,
week.
Not giving you a zero guy if I can help it. Who knows? Maybe I will. All right. Got this one on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures in regards to Travis Etienne. How can a running back get better if he's not getting a chance to play? I guess really talking about the backups, talking about Bigsby and Dearness Johnson here, but Bigsby in particular. Cisco was the same way his rookie year, and he wasn't given the chance behind Wingard. None of the running backs are looking good. Take Etienne's TDs away, and he's as average as the day is long. Only thing is you can't take the TDs away, and a couple of them have been longer runs that, like, if you were on your other 20, he'd still be going. You know what I mean? Like a 20-yard rushing touchdown for Travis Etienne might have been a 60-yard rushing touchdown for Travis Etienne. But granted, his yards per carry is down over 1 full yard this year. I don't
He's
think
at 4 per touch, I think.
4 per touch, right? But I thought he was at 4 flat in terms of yards per carry.
He is.
And he was at 5.1 last season. So he's definitely on a per carry basis, not doing it as explosively as he was, but he's also basically getting all the short yardage, right? The vast majority of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're on a 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, you're trying to pick up 1 to 2 yards. You're not, everything's bunched up. So that's going to bring your average down a little bit as well. Just
he leads the league with 127 carries,
right?
151 touches. He's 4th in rushing yards,
Mm-hmm.
5th in yards from scrimmage, and those are all numbers that, if he keeps that pace, will surpass what he did last year. So I'm not sure how we're saying, or how people are saying, he's as average as the day is long.
I mean, I think if you look at the last,
he hasn't fumbled yet.
No, but I think if you look at 3 of the last 4 games, in terms of the amount of carries he had and the amount of yards he's produced, Buffalo being the exception.
Sure.
I mean, look, nobody's saying Travis Etienne, for the record, is the offensive MVP of this team to this point.
Without question.
Okay, so nobody's saying that he's not having a good year. At least I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I understand, right, the texter here, but I think if you look at just the raw numbers, you're like, well, it is down. He was averaging over 5 yards a carry last year. So
True.
for that one angle, why is that not as good as it was last year? A lot of, like you said, he's holding up, he's durable, he's hanging on to the football, he's putting the ball in the end zone already more than he did all of last year. There are tons of positives, but I think it's fair to look at it and say, is it just because he's taking on more of the short yardage work, right? Or maybe he's taking on so much of the work in total.
The workload is not what they expect.
Right, that there are times when maybe he's a little bit like, oh, man, I might have gotten 7 on that, but I only got 3. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, the workload amount is higher than I think we all anticipated.
Yes.
But again, Bigsby has not performed when he's gotten in there, and that's been an issue.
Well, isn't part of it too? Don't you have to show something in practice that you don't just say,
was
all right,
great in camp.
He was in camp,
right?
But it makes me wonder, like,
well,
is it carrying on?
The issue is he's not there pass pro wise at this point, and that's not a knock on him because 90%, 99% of the backs coming out of the league or coming into the league as rookies are not good pass protectors. It's just not. That's just the way it is. So he's not there yet, so they don't trust him completely to get that done. Could he have some more work on some of the earlier downs? Yes, but we've also, let's not forget this offensive line has struggled for most of the year.
Sure.
And there's been a bunch of injuries there, so that's playing partly into, I think, ETN's production. If you look at, the second half of the Colts game, and then in the third quarter of the Saints game, there was no room. I mean, he's getting whacked in the backfield. He's getting hit at the line of scrimmage. So they've been unable to really kind of salt away the games with the running game the way they anticipated, and that's kind of hurt his numbers as well. But,
sure.
It's kind of hard to really make a whole lot of hay when you're getting hammered in the backfield or at the line of scrimmage.
Look, again, and how more clearly we can say it, he's the MVP on that side of the football. But at the same time, you can look and go, well, he's had 4 games this year where he's been at 3.8 yards a carry or lower out of 7. So are there ways to, improve that? Like we look at, hey, this offensive line is this, but we can get Walker Little back, and we can be this, we can be better, we can get these guys back. Can just through improved play, and it's not so much can we get Walker Little back and open up a few more holes, that'll help. But, as the season goes on and that offensive line gels together, will these numbers start to come up naturally? That's certainly within the realm of outcomes as well. Let's let Tony Smith take you around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, gems around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Free agent linebacker Frank Clark is expected to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. Clark spent 4 seasons of his career in Seattle to start it after being selected by them in the second round of the 2015 NFL Draft. Cleveland has ruled out quarterback Deshaun Watson for this week and will be starting P.J. Walker against Seattle. Watson is dealing with a muscle strain in his throwing shoulder that has caused him to miss 2 games already this season and now will cause him to miss a third. He played against the Colts on Sunday, but left the game and did not return in the first half after being evaluated and cleared in the league's concussion protocol. New York Giants quarterback Daniel Jones has missed the last 2 weeks and was limited in practice on Wednesday. He still has not been cleared for contact. San Francisco quarterback Brock Purdy has been placed in the league's concussion protocol, putting his status for this week in doubt. Sam Darnold would be expected to start if Purdy is unable to play. Miami wide receiver Tyreek Hill did not practice on Wednesday with a hip injury. Running back Raheem Mostert did not practice with an ankle injury. New Orleans Saints running back Alvin Kamara did not practice on Wednesday due to an illness. Carolina running back Miles Sanders was a full participant in practice on Wednesday after missing the Panthers' last game before their bye 2 weeks ago with a shoulder injury. Green Bay has placed safety Darnell Savage on their injured reserve with a calf injury. And Week 8 gets underway tonight with the 3-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 4-3 Buffalo Bills at 8:15 on Amazon Prime. Bucs quarterback Baker Mayfield is listed as questionable for tonight. Wide receiver Chris Godwin is listed as questionable but is expected to play. Running back Chase Edmonds has been activated from their injured reserve, doesn't carry any injury designation going into tonight. And Buffalo has ruled out tight end Dawson Knox with a wrist injury.
Chase Edmonds would be a good one for D-Rock, I think, for the Breakfast Bowl coming up. Probably have to take him in the first round, though, D-Rock. Don't want to let that guy hang out there too long. Let's go to Mike on the west side. Next up here on Jaguars Today at 641-1010. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. I have one question for you, gentlemen. With Las Vegas maybe struggling, is there a chance that Max Crosby might be available, maybe to trade for? Because he seems like he's relentless, like a J.J. Watt.
Mm-hmm.
He basically would put a lot of pressure. And if you were to move Travon Walker inside and maybe even Allen a little bit inside and create so much havoc in the middle on speed, do you think that would help this pass rush and help the team?
All right, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I think any proven pass rusher coming in would help this team. I don't know how the Raiders feel about Max Crosby. I've heard speculation that they're not interested in trading him. I don't know. We don't cover that team, but certainly I think Max Crosby is one of those guys that would fit in any NFL locker room. He does seem like a super talented guy who works crazy hard. On top of that, Tony's got 6.5 sacks up until this point. I'm not a fan of moving Josh Allen inside. He's thriving on the outside. Imagine you put Max Crosby or one of these other proven guys opposite him on some 3rd and 7 or longer.
Right.
Come on.
The Crosby one is one of those where you hear it, and it's like, yeah, from Jacksonville's perspective, cool. Try to make a move to go get Crosby. I think about it from the Raiders' perspective. What are you, nuts?
Yeah.
Like, what?
Right.
What do we have?
I mean, look, we're looking at teams like that.
Like, it made sense with Minnesota. Minnesota is on the way down, it felt like 2 weeks ago. But now they're right back in it in the NFC playoff picture. If I'm Minnesota, no. I'm not trading Danielle Hunter right now, right? Like, I wouldn't be interested in making that kind of move right now. I would have thought about it 3 weeks ago. I wouldn't make it right now. Carolina, are they willing to build on the defensive side of the ball around Brian Burns? Right? Like, that's the question that they have to ask themselves, because if they are, then it's, no, we're not interested in trading this guy. We don't have any draft capital going forward. Like, we have to figure some other things out, but we're going to build around this guy on that side of the football. If I'm the Raiders, I just can't imagine it from the Raiders' perspective being okay with moving Max Crosby because the season isn't going the way that we want it to go. Like, that feels like a guy that if I were the Raiders, I'd say, I want this guy wearing a Raiders uniform for the next 6 years. Right? Like, that would be the way that I'm looking at that particular guy. But, you know, teams do weird stuff. I'm not saying it's not possible.
They're not completely out of the playoff picture
They're
either
not,
at all.
but Minnesota just won 2 in a row to get to 3 and 4. Detroit's got 5 wins at the top of their division. The Raiders know they're not catching Kansas City.
No.
Right? And they are also 3 and 4, having lost pretty handily to the Chicago Bears this week. Now, they had won 2 in a row before that. So I tend to agree with you, Tone, that he's like one of those guys that is identified with that franchise. Not that those guys never leave, but he's only 26 years old. I don't think – look, I don't care if it's Max Crosby. I don't care if it's Montez Sweat or Chase Young or Brian Burns or I would have been happy spending the 7th-round pick on Randy Gregory and seeing if it worked out. You know, just give me somebody who's gotten quarterbacks on the ground before.
And the Washington thing makes more sense because they have bodies. Right? Like, they have 3 or 4 guys on a team that's going nowhere right now that they can move one of those guys, get something back, and try to build going forward and still feel good about the unit that they have in the building.
And those contracts are coming up, too, with at least certainly in the case of Chase Young, it's coming up. I don't know where Crosby is. I'll see if I can grab that real quick.
By the way, Washington, with all that being said, is a half game out of the 7 seed in the NFC right now. Right?
Boy, doesn't feel like it, does it?
It doesn't feel like it, but they're a half game behind Tampa for the 7 seed.
Yeah, Crosby's under contract, by the way, for the next couple of years. And I know this will sound like a lot of money, but his cap hit for 24, 25, 26 doesn't go over $27 million. That's actually manageable in today's NFL.
For sure.
You know, with the cap expected to rise.
The problem for the Jags there, though, is, you know, that's the years, the 25, 26 is when, you know, you're gonna end up with
Trevor,
Tyson, maybe Andre Sisco,
maybe Josh Allen.
I
hear you.
I mean, maybe even Calvin Ridley, and you know, you're going to end up with a bunch of big numbers that are all going to come due at once.
I'm a fan of pushing the chips in, man. when you're
well,
in
next year and the year after, 24 and 25, if you can get it done.
The thing too, like it's supposed to be a terrible draft class for edge rush.
Of course,
this year. Well, it is right. I mean, like, and I'm not.
That's
turning
what the
this into
Jags
a draft
need. So
segment,
of course it is. Yes,
but I've heard that from multiple people outside 1 or 2 guys. Good luck finding anybody that's going to impact you, which is another reason to at least consider moving some draft capital now. All right, we'll come back with our picks for week number 8 for the Breakfast Bowl. More with Mike DiRocco on the way. Your Jaguars Today question of the day asked today with the trade deadline rapidly approaching. You think the Jags add defensive help, offensive help, or do they most likely stand pat? You can vote at MD_1010XL on X or Twitter. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey once again for Underdog Fantasy and their Pick'em game. So easy to play. They're going to project a bunch of stats for a bunch of players in the league. You find the ones that you're comfortable with. Wait a minute. There's no way this guy's going to only have 30 yards receiving. Well, play more on that player if you want to. Pick between 2 to 5 players, select whether they go higher or lower on one of their stats, and kick back and watch a bunch of football and maybe win some cash. And the beauty is, if you start out with Underdog using promo code 1010XL, you're going to have cash to play with right out of the gates if you go to UnderdogFantasy.com or download the Underdog mobile app. Again, sign up with promo code 1010XL as a first-time user. Underdog's going to match your first deposit all the way up to $500. So don't think about it now. Don't say, hey, I'm going to put $10 in, see how this goes. The more you put in, the more benefit you're going to get, and this offer will not last forever. You do have to be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates, like Florida. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org.
This is Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
It's a natural fit.
Helmets and heels.
Who's that? Yes, it's us.
With Lauren, Taylor, and Mia. Driven by Tire Outlet.
And presented by Underwood Jewelers.
And First Coast Lighting and Fans. Tuesday nights at 6 on 1010XL.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey here, and guess what? I am sporting a new wardrobe. Not because I've suddenly become a fashion icon, but because my old clothes started looking like tents on me. Thanks to Awaken 180, I lost over 25 pounds, and I'm fitting into sizes I haven't worn in years. And the true magic, my Awaken 180 coach, while other programs might wave goodbye after the initial success, Mandy's still in my corner, and it's all free. Awaken 180 isn't about repeat customers. They're not looking for a sequel, just the original blockbuster success story. In their world, you shed pounds for the last time. Look, it's been 9 transformative years for Awaken 180, and now, Jacksonville, it's our turn to get in on the secret. You want a refreshed, recharged life? Do it with Awaken 180. Medication-like results without the meds. Fast, easy weight loss that will actually last. Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or go online to awaken180weightloss.com.
Did you know the 2023 Honda CR-V Hybrid never needs to be plugged in? The onboard system charges the batteries for you. When you think Honda, think hybrid. Good for the environment, great for your budget. Visit your local Honda dealer to experience the CR-V of the future today.
Tired of playing defense against your old AC system? Then it's time for a game-changing solution with Bolt City Heating and Air. Their NATE certified techs can tackle the most challenging AC issues. And local family ownership means Bolt City AC can provide fast premium service with a more competitive price. This month, they're offering 0% financing on a new Carrier system with payments starting at just $110 a month. So be cool, be bold, and visit BoldCityAC.com.
Looking for quality equipment and a name you can trust? Lepo Rents, Bobcat of Jacksonville, is your premier construction equipment dealer and rental house. We have the right equipment for the job, offering the big and small tools needed for your next project. Lepo sells and rents track loaders, excavators, boom lifts, and much more. For your next project, remember Lepo Rents, your authorized Bobcat dealer in Jacksonville. Visit them online at leporents.com.
Watching a Gator game can bring you tears of joy and sorrow. I'm Hayes Carline. My instant reaction is brought to you by 5 Star Pizza, bigger, better, faster pizza on 1010XL social channels.
Brackish Vodka, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is the smoothest local vodka you can find. Made right here in Jacksonville, Florida, 100% from corn, Brackish Vodka is the local gluten-free choice. Brackish Vodka, for those that live life slightly salty, a proud partner of the Jaguars. The next time you're feeling lucky, head over to Best Bet in St. Augustine, ask for a pour of Brackish in your favorite cocktail, and go play.
All right, Jeff, all I need you to say is, hi, I'm Jeff Lageman, and me and everybody I played professional football with thinks Shark Coatings is the best.
I'm not going to do that.
You can't. What will you say?
Well, I mean, look, the floor is durable, it's easy to clean, it looks fantastic. It's the second time I've used it. What more do I need to say?
I mean, that works too, I guess.
Okay. Can you step off the ladder?
No one's gonna know.
Trust me, they'll know. You're not as tall as I. Thanks.
Why can't I just speak to an actual human being? I need a new bank.
Well, actually, at One-to-One Financial, communication is not only number one, it's one-to-one. When you call, you get to talk to a real live Jacksonville human, fast and with someone who's truly concerned about your needs, your security, and finding solutions as a team.
Thank you.
Ready to break up with your bank? Find a real long-term banking relationship at One-to-One Financial, Jacksonville's hometown credit union. Visit one-to-onefcu.org for more information on opening an account today.
Federally insured by NCUA.
Beards Diamonds has been busy this fall, getting their showcases ready for the largest inventory of wedding bands in North Florida.
Don't miss Beards Diamonds' incredible buy one, get one wedding band sale going on now
At the St. John's Town Center or at beardsdiamonds.com.
You can't have exceptional water quality without a hefty price. With Kanaya Water Systems, a premium, high-quality water and filtration system that won't leave your wallet taking an L. Search KENAI Water Jacksonville.
Jags fans, Gate is offering the ultimate prize this season. A chance for you and 3 friends to meet Trevor Lawrence. With the My Gate Rewards Gatorade Club, for every 5 Gatorade products you buy, you'll enter for a chance to win. See store for details. Gate, your hometown convenience store.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and beautiful people all across the world, let's get ready for the Breakfast Bowl Challenge!
Mike Torraco on Jaguars Today is kept comfortable by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
All right, we just dared our competitors to take like Jag backups this week. If you can go Luke Farrell or Brenton Strange, should we get a bonus multiplier? No, but I still hope D-Rock goes that way. Would you be willing to give D-Rock both Brenton Strange and Luke Farrell, Tony, at the tight end position this week?
Yeah.
Then watch Brenton Strange go out and score another TD.
Yeah.
And then D-Rock would be loving life.
You know what? There's always that chance because we all know who caught Trevor's first career touchdown pass.
We do.
Yeah.
And no one would have guessed that person.
Man, hurt steamroller.
That's true.
Yep.
The steamroller rolls on. We did a French toast eating contest in high school once.
I'm gonna throw up.
What you don't like French toast?
Oh, no, I can't.
Oh, bro,
Had a bad,
so good. It was
can't.
99 cents, all you
eggs.
could eat at Wendy's.
Yeah.
And it was good. Like, you got like 2 pieces of bread. They cut it diagonally, so you had 4 diagonal pieces of French toast. And I took down the championship, but kind of along with this Luke Farrell stuff, we would taunt each other, and we'd eat, like, in between plates, we'd eat, like, crackers and stare at each other like,
what is wrong with you?
I'm still hungry. What about you?
That's the stuff you did when you were young, man.
I can eat Luke. I can draft Luke Farrell and
You get like
take his
2
points.
pieces of French toast down right now, and they'd be like, I'm done,
bro.
I'm full.
I could eat a plate full of French toast at
I think
a
it's
drop
back
of a hat.
at Wendy's.
Is it?
I think so.
Tony Smith. What are you doing to me over there? All right, Tony, tell us how the Breakfast Bowl went down last week, please.
Yeah, not a high-scoring week in the Breakfast Bowl, but I was the lowest of the bad scoring.
Lowest
week.
of the low.
Thank
lowest
you,
of the
Brandon.
low. 46 points for me to be buying breakfast this week. D-Rock third with 51.1. Dylan with 75.48 Pockets. You may know him better as Pockets. And then Dempsey led the way with 81.36. I was looking at the at some point we're going to throw out the high and low score.
Yeah.
A good week for Dylan. I was looking. This is the high week that he would be throwing out.
Oh, no. Dylan, you better get on your horse, son.
Yeah, I'm trying, man.
You better get on your horse right now.
Trying
But
to
at least
saddle up.
second week in a row you didn't buy breakfast.
Yep.
So that is definitely a positive there. All right.
Brandon Ayuk for MVP.
Bro, it is so funny. Like, my
Dempsey had the
cohorts in the
Keenan Allen
industry
thing,
are so soft. They really are. Like, Brendan Ayuk doesn't get a catch, has like 1 target in the second half. Kyle Shanahan should be fired for, blah, blah, blah. And he's not part of the game plan. He was plenty part of the game plan when they hit him 5 times in the first half.
Yeah.
Maybe they adjusted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe.
But
I hate him for it.
you didn't get your fantasy. I get it, but like it's not even thinly veiled. It's like we know why
it's
you're
fantasy
complaining,
football. These
right?
things happen.
All right, Tony drafts first, followed by D-Rock, Dylan, myself. We draft quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, and a flex position can be a running back, wide receiver, or a tight end. You do get a point per catch, so it is PPR scoring. And the big tricks are you can only use each player once, so if you've taken him, can't take him again. And if somebody takes that any given player today, nobody else can have that player. No 2 rosters for the same guy. So I'm stalling to open up the Breakfast Bowl grid, even though, Tone, I go over all these the night before.
I hear you.
The paranoia runs deep with your boy. So, Tony, lead us off, please.
Because his running mate is out, finally had a big receiving week coming out of the backfield last week. I'll take Jahmyr Gibbs to lead us off today.
Gibbs, D-Rock.
Yes, I'd like to take Isaiah Pacheco.
Okay, so you guys are just reading right down my list then, is what you're doing this week, apparently. All right, that's fine. He says, knowing it's not fine. Dylan, who you got?
Running back, Jets, Hall.
Okay, Breece Hall. It is. Let's see. I'm going to go Lamar Jackson at quarterback, and I'm going to go Drake London.
Interesting, yeah.
Yep, at wide
Finally back a
receiver.
part of the offense.
I
there
hope so.
now.
Hope it stays that way. So that's where I'm going at wide receiver. And we go back to Dylan.
Cooper Kupp, wide receiver.
Never heard of him.
Me neither.
Coming off a down week, man. Maybe he's not any good anymore. That's possible.
Or we'll have a monster week.
Could be
'cause he had
that.
a down
Could be
week.
that as well. Could be that as well,
Yeah.
Tone. All right, what do you got, D-Rock?
I'm going to grab me some C.J. Stroud this week.
Yeah, he was second on my QB list this week, which tells you I've used a lot of high-end quarterbacks
Yes, we
already. All right, Dylan. I'm sorry, Tony. Tony's up next.
Oh, you're used to him being in this spot.
Yeah.
I will,
Kind of funny. Real funny.
Many times.
I will go.
Dylan's favorite breakfast place did not get a workout today.
I will go Terry McLaurin.
Okay, and you get another one here.
And let's see. McLaurin and I don't want to do that. Jake Ferguson at tight end.
Fergie. That's what I call him. Not really. All right, Jake Ferguson it is. D-Rock, you got Stroud and Pacheco.
I'm on Ra, please.
I'm on Ara.
St. Brown.
St. Bizzle. Got him. Pockets, you got Breece Hall, you got Cooper Kupp.
CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
Flex.
Flex, yep, gotcha. All right, I'm going to go Dallas Goedert, tight end. And then I'm going to go. I don't even know who these guys are playing at this point in time. Honest to goodness. All right, I'm going to go Adam Thielen in the flex. Save some running back. Firepower. Back to you, Dylan. Hall, Kupp, CD.
Tight end. I'm going to roll the dice with Taysom Hill.
Okay. Never know with that guy. D-Rock, tight end or a flex?
Yikes. I'm going to go with Zay Flowers.
I had Zay on my list this week, but I don't love doubling up with the quarterback wide receiver in a lineup this short too often, because if you miss it, you're in big trouble.
Right. The only one you feel safe with is Kelsey and Mahomes.
Yeah, I got away. Hurts and A.J. Brown was good for me last week, but I wouldn't do it every week. But I like the Zay Flowers pick. Tony needed a quarterback and a flex.
I will go Patrick Mahomes and A.J. Brown.
Okay. Tony doesn't want to buy 2 weeks in a row. D-Rock, tight end.
Yeah, Dalton Kincaid.
D-Rock. Oh, I'm sorry, Dylan.
No.
Quarterback.
Mahomes. No, you can't do that. Jalen Hurts.
It was close. He said he couldn't do it.
Mahomes. No, you can't do that.
I wrote all 4 quarterbacks down, and y'all had all 3 of them.
So
that's the only one I got left. Jalen Hurts.
Panel voting. We're accepting Jalen Hurts.
I'll accept it.
D-Rock, are you accepting? All right, no need for my negative vote, but Jalen Hurts it is. All right, and give me Christian McCaffrey.
CMC.
Last one to use him.
Yep.
Get him in before the bye. You never know if he's going to get banged up at some point.
Correct.
So, and I'm certainly not using him the following game that he plays. They got the bye, and then they got the Jags. So, all right, here's what we got. Tony's got Mahomes. Oh, no, he hasn't used him, so he's going to keep him. He's also got Jahmyr Gibbs, Terry McLaurin, Jake Ferguson, and A.J. Brown. D-Rock goes with Stroud, Pacheco, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Dalton Kincaid, Zay Flowers. Dylan goes with Hurts, Breece Hall, Cooper Kupp, Taysom Hill and CD, and I'll go Lamar Jackson, CMC, Drake London, Dallas Goedert, and Adam Thielen. Not too many outside-the-box picks this week.
No.
Breakfast Bowl is locked in. Keep an eye on that Hurts fellow. Keep an eye on that Dylan fellow right there. Right now, ET would be screaming, I would have been stuck with a 0. And he probably would have been right. You guys are soft as the cotton over there. All right.
Well, we feel a little sorry for
I know. You guys are much nicer than I am, which is the established fact as well. Let's come back and take a look at today's question of the day. How would we vote on that? And what level, if they're going to go out and bring in help, what level would that help be? Like, we've been talking about, the ultra elite level pass rusher that might be available. Might they go kind of middle of the road or just, stopgap kind of thing, a guy who's off the radar? We'll talk about that and more coming up on the other side with Mike DeRocco, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. I'm Mike Dempsey. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Studios.
JOI, where the pros go.
We're juiced up. We have the right mentality with the right energy.
That ball is picked off by Foye Oluokun.
Foye's a baller. He's a leader, great teammate.
Foye Oluokun brought back the deflected interception for the score.
He's one of the best linebackers I've ever played with.
The Jags take over on down at the roll 6-yard line.
Whenever it's crunch time and we need to make a play, we're going to make it for our team to get it win.
Next up, Pittsburgh.
Gritty, not pretty. That's what I'm saying. We just play together.
Jaguars Steelers, Sunday at 1 on the home of the Jaguars, 1010XL.
Key Buick GMC. Save up to $6,500 on new Buicks to combine big savings with a low APR to fit any budget. Like 1.9% APR financing for 36 months, 4.1% for 60 months, or 5.04% for up to 72 months. Also, right now, enjoy no payment on new Buicks until 2024. Whenever you buy a brand new Key Buick GMC, it always comes with the lifetime powertrain warranty. Across the street from Tinseltown, Southside and Gate.
Visit the brand new Liquid Sunshine Car Wash on Southside near Hogan Road for the most advanced tunnel technology, powerful new vacuums, and the best customer experience because they care. See for yourself at Liquid Sunshine Car Wash.
Are spooky plumbing problems haunting your home this Halloween? Don't be scared. Call Duck Duck Rooter, your ghost-busting plumbing heroes. 904-862-6769. And chase those spooky issues away. Duck Duck Rooter.
Serving sausage and stories for lunch every day.
I'm former Pro Bowl offensive lineman Leon Searcy. Listen for my stories doing Lunch with Leon or XL Primetime.
Brought to you by the Sausage Dudes. Sausage with a purpose. Weekdays on 1010XL.
Prepare for the return of Valor Bare Knuckle 2, the true bare knuckle boxing platform, as they step back into the limelight for an exciting night of combat sports. Founded by legendary MMA fighter Ken Shamrock. This Friday night at 7 at UNF Arena. Get your tickets today at ValorBK.com or at the UNF Arena box office. Valor Bare Knuckle 2. This Friday, live at UNF Arena.
Safe Harbor Seafood and Market is one of the largest sources of fresh local seafood in the Southeast. This football season, when the family wants fresh seafood for game day, stock up at Safe Harbor Seafood Market and Restaurant, located in Old Mayport, or the new location in Crescent Beach. Award-winning seafood right in your backyard. Family-owned and operated for generations. Safe Harbor Seafood and Market. For store hours, go online to safeharbor-seafood.com.
1010XL is a proud sponsor of Operation New Uniform's 10th Annual Heroes Gala, featuring retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and former Congressman Alan West. Saturday, December 2nd at Sawgrass Marriott. Operation Uniform is a free, life-changing program that helped me, David Trenholm, successfully transition from a 20-year career in the United States Navy to the business world. Join 1010XL and sponsor Operation Uniform's 10th Annual Heroes Gala today. Go to onuvets.org, that's onuvets.org today.
Get ready for big hair and big hits with Warrant. Sweet cherry pie. November 3rd at Thrasher Horn Center. Spend the night in rock heaven. Warrant, featuring 4 original members finely tuned in tip-top musical form. Warrant, playing the hits. See Warrant at Thrasher Horn Center. Get your tickets now.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
If your lawn is not as green as you'd like, it's time to go orange by calling Orange Environmental Services, Jacksonville's highest quality pest control for over 45 years. Frank Frangie here. I've trusted Orange Environmental to take care of our home's pest control needs for years. With the Orange Shield Protection Plan for your home or office, you can relax knowing Orange Environmental will handle pest control, termite control, and mosquito control. Orange Environmental has been giving Northeast Florida peace of mind from bug problems since 1972. Call them today at 272-3284.
Visionaries, builders, and doers. Are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
This is Dr. Kevin Kaplan, head team physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jags, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Calvin Ridley is still searching for his groundbreaking game this season. However, Coach Peterson still believes he is tormenting defenses with their preparation for Ridley.
Calvin's been he's going to continue to be a big part of the offense, right? And the success that we have is going to be because of, Calvin's success on the field. And we just have to understand that defenses are going to be aware of where he is, and they're going to defend him, much like T.J. Watt. I mean, we got to know where he's at, so to try to eliminate some of that. So kind of a give and take there.
Doug Peterson, courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's a Mike DeRocco Thursday on Jaguars Today. Is brought to you by Lloyd's Heating and Air on 1010XL.
Well, D-Rock, I got this bulletin passed along by a listener from the Clay County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, I saw this.
Currently looking for a suspect involved in a carjacking, Tony Smith Jr. 5'9", thin build, wearing a dark long-sleeve gray shirt. I could have sworn Tony did a wardrobe change earlier this morning. And gray sweatpants. So
it's like 4 schools on lockdown.
Got to do something when you're running from the police.
Hope they get him quick, right? You got to change it up.
Yeah.
Tone, right? Yeah. Like one of those shows where...
Well, I've seen the mugshot, so he changed it up significantly.
I don't think it's him.
Not me.
I don't think it's you. But then again, maybe get him under those lights in the interrogation room. Maybe he'll crack, D-Rock. I'm not sure. All right, let's take a look at today's poll question. We're asking you, with the trade deadline rapidly approaching, which of these scenarios do you think is most likely for the Jags? Will they trade for defensive help, trade for offensive help, or stand pat? Over 400 of you have voted already. Let's take a look at the results in today's 10-10 Take.
10-10 Take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 Take. Brought to you by J&M Roofing Jacksonville, your storm restoration specialists.
D-Rock, how much is this team conscious of the chemistry that they have developed in the locker room? Like, in terms of bringing in a new guy, right? You try to vet them and everything, and some guys fit, and they fit the culture, and it's fantastic, and it's seamless. Other guys maybe have an ego, and they want to get their numbers or whatever the case, especially if you're trading for a guy in a contract year. So how much of a factor is that, in your opinion, on the Jaguars' deliberations on whether or not to go out and add more talent?
Well, they make a point, and they talk to us a lot about, how good the chemistry is in the locker room and how great of a locker room it is.
How people fit.
But they also have said, we feel like we have a good enough locker room that we could withstand, maybe somebody who's not a great dude or not, the kind of
fully
guy
on
that fits
board.
in. Yeah,
right.
However, we've also, in talking to some people, I've been told that they didn't go after a couple of those veteran pass rushers because they felt like that they wouldn't fit in there. And, there were maybe a little bit of me first guys, and they didn't want to bring those guys in. So they kind of play both sides of it, to be honest with you. But I do think that, and I've said this, I think I've said this to you guys before, in all my years covering this team last year and this year, it's the best locker room in terms of dealing with the guys.
No finger pointing?
No, and them being great in terms of interviews and all that other stuff, and you can kind of tell when the locker room is not good. In 18 it was very evident. 19, same thing. You could tell when it's bad in there, and you could tell when there's one side that doesn't like the other side, and the offense is against it. You can tell it. And the last year and this year, it's been phenomenal. It's a big reason. Look, if it was a bad locker room, then everything would have fallen apart last year.
Right.
Especially coming back from London. But the fact that it was a good locker room and they maintained that throughout the whole bad first half of the season was a big reason why they were able to bounce back in the second.
I think credit goes to Trent Baalke for identifying the kind of player they want to bring in, but it also goes to Doug Peterson because you can have that guy and, man, you're 2-5, 2-6, and that guy can go, all right, enough. Like the writing's on the wall here, and Doug kept them believing, and they always, you have to believe that they did believe because the results turned around. Right. And if they didn't have that, hey, we can get on a roll, because teams do tend to say that, right? Oh, we're beating ourselves. Couple of mistakes. We could be this. One or two things do differently, and we're going to get on a roll here. And I don't know how often they honestly believe the likelihood of all those things happening. The proof was in the results last year. Tone, I don't know where you're at on this. I think D-Rock is on the stand pat, right?
I think that's what they will
right
do,
now.
yes.
If you're going to vote, what about yourself, Tony?
Voting what I think they're going to do, it would be stand pat, right? I think if they're going to make a move, it would be on the defensive side of the ball, but I don't think it's likely that they do.
You think people are voting for what they hope happens here maybe a little bit, right? We're asking you what you think is the most likely. And you know what? Maybe you're right. Trade for defensive help, pulling down 71.6% of the vote. They think they're going to get somebody. Somebody asked me yesterday, when's the last time the Jags have done this? Well, technically last year, but it wasn't for a guy that was going to help them immediately in Calvin Ridley. But we all remember the deal for Marcel Darius in 2017, and it was a great fit. I mean, that was Doug
funny.
Marrone, having worked with that guy.
Yeah.
He knew Marcel Darius and knew how he felt about him fitting into that mix.
And it was funny that year going into the trade deadline, it felt like fans wanted to see them do something on offense, right? Because Allen Robinson had gotten hurt. Like go make a move. Let's see what they can do on that side. And they wind up bringing in a guy to help the run defense, which needed help at the time, certainly, and he did. Like, he helped the run defense. I think what you're going to hear once we get through the trade deadline next week, and look, they'll say it now, I think, if you ask them about it. Look, we're getting Dwan Smoot back. We're getting Devon Hamilton back, right? Like, we don't know what it looks like with those guys on the field this year. There's a reason we paid Devon, right? We believe in this guy. And when we get him back into the mix, we're going to be fine. That's the way they'll at least couch it.
Right. Well, then if that's what you believe, fine.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're going to say we don't know how we're going to be, you can't say, well, we think we're going to be fine. Like if you say, hey, we think with the addition of Devon Hamilton, Dwan Smoot, maybe a couple of these other guys improving, getting better numbers in the second half of the year, whatever the case.
Yeah.
Look, they might be right. We don't know. I mean, we all have I think if we're playing with their draft picks, we'd all like to add a proven pass rusher, a guy that you think could come in and get you a half dozen over the final half of the season. Somebody brought up Arden Key the other day, and honestly, it's not that crazy.
No.
D-Rock, his contract is actually very manageable.
It's what the Jags offered him.
He fit in this locker room last year, right? But my feeling was he just wanted a larger role. Like
he
they
wanted
couldn't
to be
offer
a
him right. So do you want to start on a team that's selling off assets, or do you want to have a chance to get back together with your bandmates and make a run in the postseason?
I wonder if he had known how that was going to play out last year or this year, if he would make the same decision.
It's tough to know, man,
Right.
because I wonder if the Jags did offer him the same money that he got because
that's what I was told.
Is that right?
It was
That
roughly
money
the
was the
same
same
deal, but he wanted to be a starter and was going to be a reserve here. So,
and I don't blame him for that.
No.
If that's what I mean, look, last he watched, Tennessee was going toe-to-toe with Jacksonville, down to the wire. Jags won it late, won the division, could have gone the opposite way. He's thinking, well, they had me. I switched sides. It's going to tip the balance of power, right? I mean, that's how guys think, right? They have confidence in their own abilities to get things done.
I looked this up the other day. This is a little off topic, but did you realize that the Titans in their last 13 games are 2-11?
Is that right?
Yeah.
Makes me feel all warm
It
inside.
makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
right, with how bad the back half of the season was last year. I know they've only
that
won.
It was that
yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Stunned. But anyway, sorry.
No,
we were mentioning
no.
the Titans. So
It's funny too with Arden Key talking about he wants to go Tennessee where he can start. Well, he's getting starter reps, right? He's getting 65% of the defensive reps, but because of how tricky starting or not starting can be, especially on defensive line, he started one game technically this year for the Titans, but he is getting the starter share of the reps along that defensive front, which was about 20% more than he was getting here last year. Right, so he signed, wanted more opportunities. Well, the Titans are giving him more opportunities, but the Titans have certainly shown themselves to be sellers at this point. So who knows where Arden Key is going to finish the year?
I mean, I think Donna Deegan's probably open to renaming the place Ardenville, right? It seems perfectly reasonable to me. I don't know. Somebody brought that up in the text line a couple days ago, and I'm like, it's not the craziest idea in the world, other than the fact that you're trading within the division. But once you make the commitment to sell, I think you just take the best deal possible.
I think the Jags are mad at him for what happened, so I don't think that's a possibility.
Man, that would be incredibly short-sighted to me. Like, I don't know how you can be mad at a guy unless he strung you along and said, I'm going to sign here.
Well, I think they felt like, I know they felt like they had him back. And
you do until you don't.
Didn't work out. But then what I don't understand is, okay, so you didn't have him back. What are you going to do to fix it? And they didn't do anything.
Correct. They counted on Caleb on to come along. He has doubled his single-season best. All right, let's head out to Miller's Ale House on South Side, where Joe C. and the crew are standing by.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Tire Outlet. Keeping the rubber on the road with wholesale prices and premium service. Tire Outlet, Jacksonville's largest locally owned automotive repair shop.
All right, Joe Coward and the crew over at Miller's Ale House on Southside. Joe, what is the kind of Florida-Georgia buzz that you're feeling in the city at this stage?
It is all red and black. It's
Really?
less orange and blue. Well, I still think that there's a big two touchdown point spread between the two. So Florida, fingers crossed, they've got a little bit of hope, especially since they did win the last time they were on the field. But most people look at this and like, okay, Kirby, and I threw the stat out yesterday, Mike. 5 of the last 6, Kirby and them have won. It's been by an average of 22 points.
Yeah.
So when they get up on Florida, it's just tough for Florida to score. All the rebuilding, all the stuff that Billy is going through. Yeah, there's a pro Bulldog feel to it so far.
All right, well, I would think from a Florida's perspective, if you're a fan, it's the old house money thing. You know what I mean? Like, nobody expects you to win, so you can kind of go in there loosey-goosey and see what transpires. Joe, what's going to transpire for the next few hours on your show?
Well, speaking of that, Ryan McGee, he is part of Marty and McGee on SEC Network, so he will be with SEC Nation in town. So we will hear from him. As a matter of fact, today and tomorrow we'll have a bunch of those from the SEC Network that will be on with us. And so we'll be talking about that, talking about all the other big ball games in college, and then, of course, drilling down on the Jags against the Steelers. We're talking about a 2-point line. I think that's now gone to a 3-point line. And so looking at that injury report, finding out whether Zay's going to be available. At least I don't feel good about him being available, but we'll keep an eye on that and definitely get into all the topics surrounding the Jags today.
Yeah, D-Rock thinks Devon Hamilton the most likely out of the quartet of banged-up guys. But, it could be more than one, and we'll see in the next few days. Joe, have a great show.
All right, man, thanks.
All right, XL Primetime out at the Ale House on Southside. D-Rock had a lot of nice features lately over at ESPN.com, obviously on the Jags. What's the latest, and what are you working on now?
Well, today, obviously, that Travis Etienne story ran. I'm actually working on a fun story. I don't want to kind of give it away, but I'm working on a Christian Kirk feature now as well.
Okay.
And then looking on ahead to the Monday night game coming up, which is going to be here before we know it. I'm working on a story about Duval, the Duval chant.
All right. I like it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm having a lot of fun with this team. Great bunch of guys to talk to and a lot of good stories to write. So, and then I'll cover a game, which is always the best part. I always love covering the game. Going to Pittsburgh this weekend. Love that city. It's a fantastic city, fantastic stadium. So, going to be a good time.
Yeah, somebody's sending me a clip from 2017 or I guess 2018 playoff game, following the 2017 season, and they're taunting the Pittsburgh crowd below them. I'll tell you what, I get they have good fans. They travel, right? They show up everywhere they go. They file out of that place just as quick as anybody else. I've seen it with my own eyes. Seriously,
Yeah.
when they're beat,
Everybody does. Yeah.
everybody, but they act like they're, doesn't stink, and just makes me so satisfied when the Jags go up into their house and knock them around like they've done many times in recent history. So, D-Rock, you can find on Twitter or X at ESPN Duraco.
Yep.
And enjoy the game this weekend. What time's your flight?
I think I leave at noon on Saturday.
All right.
So
back Sunday night, Monday morning.
Monday morning, 6 a.m. flight.
You got to love a good early wake-up call in Pittsburgh, man. That's nothing better than that.
Yeah, there are a lot of things better than that.
Right. All right, we got to go. What's your score prediction for the game?
I think the Jags win 27-20.
All right, 27-20. We got one for the Jags. We'll make our picks. Maybe we should pick Pittsburgh, Tony, because we were brutal last week. The confidence picks were in the trash, baby. They were so bad. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to D-Rock. Thanks to all of you out there in Radio Land. Stick around. XL Primetime coming up for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark. I'm Mike Dempsey. Tom McManus joins us tomorrow for a Keys to Victory Friday here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This is Jaguars Today.